This thing is chomping at the bit to go. Ready, set, and off we go. My goodness, we got some wheel slippage. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro, a vehicle and trim I was a little disappointed in when we tested it off-road last year. This year, well, I've had a little more time to think and contemplate and live with this platform and this vehicle and trim, and I have new and updated thoughts for 2025. What has this been like to live with, and what are my new revelations? All of that coming up. Before we jump too far into this one, according to YouTube analytics, something like 70+% of you have yet to hit that subscribe button, and we are so close to 50,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, so a quick click of a button down there will help our channel out immensely in our goal of helping more families research and buy their next vehicle. Yes, gearheads, I have some updated thoughts on the Sequoia TRD Pro after spending some time with this exact one at our off-road testing facility, not at Barnwell Mountain, but at Eagles Canyon Raceway, where the team there really say they swear by this platform. They really love it. And as you know, if you watched our 2024 Sequoia TRD Pro video, we took this one off-road at Barnwell and we're a little disappointed in this slow technical stuff, which isn't really what this thing is built for the more I've lived with it. But let's start with what powers this one under the hood, and we'll go through all the details from there. Much like the Toyota Tundra, on which this is based, we get the 3.5 liter twin turbocharged iForce Max V6 engine, making 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission with sequential shift and a on-demand four-wheel drive system that puts power down clearly to all four wheels. Now, this being a hybrid is a hybrid in the sense of more power, not necessarily more fuel economy. You'll see that when we get inside and see just the type of economy we've been getting from this big twin turbo V6. But suffice it to say, the power on this is very good. We'll talk more about that shortly. Closing the hood, we can talk about the TRD Pro specific color for 2025. So the last one we tested was a 24 in Terra. This 2025 is Mudbath, and they have already announced the TRD Pro specific color for 2026 in Wave Runner, a very kind of 90s psychedelic teal blue that really does stand out. So we've had a couple years of muted dirt colors, and for 2026 we're getting some bright, loud colors, which I appreciate, and maybe a reason to wait on the Mudbath and get the Wave Runner. But styling is very much like the new Tundra, though the Sequoia does get its own unique style with the headlights, the grille surround, everything like that. There are variations, much like the Toyota Tacoma and 4Runner, share a little bit of the way of style because they both share a platform. Same here with Tundra and Sequoia. This being the TRD Pro, we get the Heritage Toyota in the grille. We get our TRD Pro LED light bar that you have to be in 4 low to use. We get our marker lamps because of just how big this vehicle is. Our sequential turn signals, amber turn signals, our running lights, our LED headlights, marker lights, fog lights. All the lights up here are LED, which is a very nice touch. This is a big beast and definitely makes its presence known on the road and in the parking lot. Some things I really appreciate about the style of the front end of the Sequoia is something that you actually need to come in close to really admire, and that's the fact that all of this ductwork up here isn't fake. Yes, air can actually get through there and through down here. On the Sequoia TRD Pro, all of that actually does allow air around the front of this massive vehicle. You can see we also have the tow mirrors on our particular model, which really adds to the overall presence of this vehicle. Now, I am coming down here, much like the Tundra on which this is based, we do not have any front recovery hooks because, well, that is just an oversight of the development of this Tundra Sequoia platform. The 4Runner and Tacoma do have front recovery points that are more visible than anything else. And then coming down here, you can see we have a TRD Pro skid plates and underbody protection, which is very welcome in a vehicle that is going to be going off-road. Now, my biggest complaint of this platform is right here, the chin. It just has too big of a nose and too low of an approach angle to really be a serious off-roader where I normally test. And that is the big caveat there, where I normally test, because this thing is quite capable. You can see the TRD branded suspension back there that really is beefed up for this TRD Pro. We also get these TRD Pro specific BBS Forged wheels wrapped in these Falken Wildpeak all-terrain tires. They are 285, 65 R18s. And I appreciate the fact that we didn't go 20-inch wheel like Chevrolet does. We really have a good wheel to tire sidewall proportion here on this off-road focused vehicle, because 20s, I'm sorry, don't belong on an off-road vehicle. They just don't. And that really brings me to my first real new revelation of this vehicle, this platform, is I have been testing it in my slow rock crawling, narrow trails of Barnwell Mountain. This thing wants to be out in the open. It wants to go fast and it wants to have fun, because that suspension really is built for speed, much like the isodynamic seats in the Tacoma TRD Pro. To really get the most out of those seats or this platform, or even that platform, it really needs to be going fast. And that is something that I don't really get to do a lot in my normal off-road testing, but I can say out at Eagles Canyon, this thing can scream and haul, and she is quite a lot of fun out on the road or on the dirt track, as the case would be. You can see our TRD Pro also gets this camouflage pattern on the wheel arches, which is really cool. The mud bath contrasting with all the black really does work nicely. Our particular model also has a rooftop carrier. We'll talk about why that is essential here in just a moment, because as we pull around to the back, you can see, much like the sequential turn signals up front, we get sequential turn signals back here in the back. Everything is blacked out. Sequoia is spelled across the tailgate back there. You can see we have this new TRD performance badge that I do not believe we had last year, but correct me in the comments. I have slept a little since the last time I drove one of these. And then we have our iForce Max badge with our Beyond Zero little indication right there. That's Toyota's new indication of a hybrid vehicle. Yes, this is in fact a hybrid vehicle, and the engine is actually off right now. We're running off battery power, but you can see we have a dual exit exhaust on the driver's side. It makes a decent amount of noise both inside and out, though most of the noise on the inside is pumped in through the speakers. Now, one thing that we had to say goodbye to was our roll down rear window, but we still have access to the back via a pop-up glass. I do miss the roll down rear window, but we still get that in Tundra. We still get that in the 4Runner. So they definitely fixed that for their other vehicles before bringing them to market. You can see our backup camera, our rear view camera for our rear view mirror right there is actually this camera right here. So it is hidden behind glass, which means this rear wiper does help keep it clean when need be. So that is something I really like that Toyota does. You can see I got into the rear glass by pressing that button right there. Underneath here is where you can get into the rear hatch. You can also kick underneath right here and power open the rear hatch if your hands are full. But this right here is the biggest shortcoming of the Toyota Sequoia. In fact, in our 2023 review of this platform, I did an entire video over the different configurations of the cargo area. They make the most of what they've got here with this limited amount of space, thanks to this shelf that can adjust in height. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3 different levels in which we can put this shelf. And then we do have power folding. If I push and hold, power folding third row seats here. which is very nice. When you do fold the seats, you've got this little flap here that closes the gap between the shelf and the backs of the seats, which is very nice. And then you can see we do have storage underneath as well. These partitions actually adjust, so you can see all the different areas in which we can adjust those partitions. So there are various different ways that you can adjust the cargo capacity back here. And like I said, I have a full video highlighting all of that, but suffice it to say, it is on the low side, especially when sales leaders like Tahoe just have a massive amount of, it's over 25 cubic feet behind the third row of seats. So that is saying a lot. And then you can, whoops, I hit it twice, you can put these seats up that way via a power return, which is very nice. These seats also slide forward and backward to give you more space in all three rows. We have a mechanical latch right here, and you can see just how much those move fore and aft. We'll show you a little bit more of that when we get inside. Now, when it comes to top tethers, we only have a top tether here in the center, and for the center seat, we actually have a ceiling mounted seat belt, but we do have an adjustable headrest, something that Tahoe and Suburban do not give you. And then lastly, we do have buttons right here for the power open and close function, bringing the tailgate of the Sequoia down rather slowly, but at least you know you've got plenty of time to get out of the way. Before we get inside this one, I did want to show you the key. It is your typical Toyota key, not a lot to it. You have lock, unlock, your hatch, your panic button. This does have remote start, but it's done in Toyota's typical fashion. You had to push the lock once, twice, and push and hold on the third time and wait, and wait, and wait, and now it's, there we go. Now it's firing up. It is a process that you have to be committed to when you want to remote start your vehicle, which comes in handy when it is quite warm, even in September. We are after Labor Day as I'm filming this, and I'm already sweating this morning. And then you can see we do have the trailer mirrors here, the tow mirrors that power extend. They also power retract when you lock the vehicle. We do have a passive entry system here. So all I had to do is grab the front doors and the mirrors extend, but unfortunately that kills the engine. The vehicle is now turned off, which is a function that just makes no sense to me. I have it on good authority that if you get vehicles with Toyota Safety System 3.0 and newer, that the vehicle will stay on when you remote start it and unlock it. But that is very unfortunate. And what is supposed to be a family vehicle, if you need to load a kid in the back, they're going to be waiting for you to turn the engine on for the air conditioning. And then we get an all black interior with red accents. I really do like this armrest shelf up here. That is very nice. Carryover design from Tundra. And then we have all of our controls here. You can see we can power fold our mirrors with that button right there, window lockout, and then all of our window controls. We do have two-person memory seats, multiple different storage levels in the door, which is very nice and very welcome. Multi-way adjustable seats with two-way lumbar. You can see the all-weather floor mats do have some very cool designs. We get the tire tread, we get the dirt, then we get the mountains right there, all of which are very cool. Before I climb in, I do want to show you all the buttons that Toyota puts over the driver's knee. Here are our lights underneath our mirrors. Here's how we power extend them. I'll show you that in a moment. And here's our TRD light bar to say a few of the buttons that we have there. But coming to the seats themselves, I really do like them. They're big, they are very comfortable. And you can see, yes, there is a camouflage pattern hidden behind all the perforations. These are heated and ventilated, and you can see we have TRD Pro embroidered on the backrest there. These are their synthetic leather seats. They are supposed to be lighter than leather. They are supposed to wear better than leather, and only time will tell on that front. We also have all-weather or all-terrain steps here, which should make it easier to climb into for those vertically challenged, as will this A-pillar mounted handle right there, so you can climb in very nicely. Go ahead, close the door, sit in here. I'll put my foot on the brake and push the red TRD engine start button. My seat moves up into place where I had it set, and then all the screens come to life. I actually have 3 screens staring back at me with a lot of different information. I have the rear view camera mirror display that I showed you the camera for earlier. I've got this very large touchscreen infotainment system right here, and then I've got my fully digital gauge cluster. And as you can see, yes, in 64.6 miles, we're averaging 11.5 mpg. And yes, I have been idling a little this morning while filming, but still, we haven't really seen much above 12 mpg in our time with this vehicle, even though it's a hybrid. You can't see the engine is actually on because the tach actually displays a needle. When the engine turns off, that needle goes away. iForce is the turbocharger, so you can see your turbo speed, and max is the hybrid integration, and you can see your battery capacity there. And it does sound like our engine may be about to turn off. I don't know. It's just idling a little bit lower now that it's up and running. Yep, there it goes. Now we are on battery power. You can see the needle went down to 0 RPMs there. Pulling out a little bit, typical Tundra, Toyota, big truck steering wheel, all of our necessary buttons. We've got our volume. We've got our different controls here for changing what is displayed on the left side of the screen. So I can pan through various different things there. I can even scroll through different things with the up down. Here's my back button, call button. And over here I have some of my driver assistance stuff, my cruise and adaptive cruise, as well as my lane keep and track forward and back right there. So lower stuff is audio, upper stuff is other things. This being a TRD Pro, we get this top dead center red strip, which again, at speed, off-road, perhaps in sand, in a big desert somewhere, that will come in handy, because if you are turning your wheel like this, it is very easy to plow straight ahead in sand. So it is a nice visual warning to let you know exactly where your steering wheel is turned, even if you aren't looking directly at the wheel. So that is very nice. We do not have a head-up display here on our TRD Pro model, so that is one screen we are missing up here. But as we move across, very large screen here. You can see lots of information displayed on it. It's like a TV here in the middle of the vehicle. But my favorite feature of this large screen is when you push the camera button here. Unfortunately, when you push it while you're in park, you get this pan around image, which is not my favorite. But when you put it in gear, if you put it in reverse, you automatically get your bird's eye. You get your backup camera with trajectory, which is very nice. You can see we have quick access to multiple different camera views, so I can see my front wheels, my back wheels, I can see out front, I can see out back, I can turn off my overhead if I don't want it. A lot of different things here. I can even turn on the off-road mode, which shows me a clear view out front or back, and then both sides, which this screen automatically triggers when you are in for low, which I very much appreciate. We also get our pitch and roll here, which is very cool. But I really do love how Toyota makes the most of this screen real estate. If I put it in drive, you can see now we're looking out in front of us. We can see a little bit help aided here with the fisheye lens with these corner markers, just kind of giving you an alert of where the front of your vehicle is when you compare it there, because the view out is a little bit compromised. This is a very big vehicle in its own right. So I like that the visibility in this is aided by all the 360 cameras. We do have multiple different buttons here, but we'll go further into the infotainment system when we are connected to wireless Apple CarPlay and I'm not filming on my phone. You can see here we get tri-zone climate control, so dual zone front with a single zone rear. We have heated and ventilated front seats that remember where they were set. So it is good, warm, and humid this morning, and I really love that this remembers that I had my ventilated seat on full blast. Love, love, love that. You can see we do have automatic mode for our fan speed too if we want it. So all of that is very nice. Here is our volume knob, not to be confused with your temperature switches right here. So don't grab that wanting to adjust fan speed or temperature. That is your volume knob. This screen is a little hard to see as it's recessed back underneath this screen here. And these indicators on that are just printed on this shiny black plastic would be better suited if they were backlit. At night, it is a little hard to see all of the functionality here, but if you owned this vehicle, I'm sure you'd get quite used to where all the easy access functions are. Moving down further, you can see we have a trailer mode here that does give you an indicator light. right here if needed. Our camera button, traction control, hazard, locking rear diff, and then 2 blanks here that are not currently being used for anything. Qi wireless charger, I like how it's upright so you can see your phone just at a quick glance, though it is hidden a little bit behind the gear selector, especially if you've got it in drive. So yeah, just a little bit there. We do have an electronic hold button right here. It doesn't like that I'm not buckled up right now, but that will allow you to take your foot off the brake in traffic. Electronic parking brake right here that you can actuate very quickly. Then back here we've got a couple of cup holders underneath this panel. It is textured. I love how it's not gloss black, so that's very nice. We have all your different drive modes right here: tow haul mode, downhill assist control, and crawl mode, multi-terrain select, and then our transfer case. So you can see 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. You have to push and pull it back. For 4 low, you have to be in neutral. You have to push all the right buttons, do all the right things, but we'll go ahead and show you just how long it takes. So we'll put it in 4 low, and you can see, yes, it's beeping at us. We're going to let it roll a little bit. Maybe, still no, still no. This is a complaint I have of Toyotas in general with their electronic transfer cases. They just seem to take forever to actually go into 4 low, and still nope, nothing. Maybe, nope, nothing. All right, I'm giving up on it. But yes, electronic transfer case there, and then all of our different drive modes. Speaking of drive modes, you can see we have sport, normal, and eco. If I go over here to tow haul mode, you can see we're now in tow haul, and it forces us into normal. And then hitting the multi-terrain select reminds me that I need to be in 4-wheel drive. So now in 4 high, which it is still waiting to switch into 4 high. Let's go ahead and maybe roll some, neutral. There we go. Now we're in 4 high. Now we can hit multi-terrain select. And yes, here we go. Deep snow, mud, sand, dirt, and auto are our different modes there. So that is multi-terrain select, but we'll go ahead and put it back into high. Further storage up here, we have this cubby that slides back and forth. It's hard black plastic. We have this cubby, hard black plastic, which is kind of shallow, but you can store some smaller items in there. If you want to get into the lower section, you can just quickly get into it via that. We have a button right here and a button right here, and you can see very large storage section in here. Very nice and convenient. We do have some cubbies right there for coins. You can see that's where our USBs are. We have a USB-A and a USB-C in here, both of which are for battery only. You can see up here we have a USB-A for the wired interface with CarPlay and Android Auto. But again, this does have wireless, so that is something to note as well. No 2 glove boxes in here like we see in some other pickup trucks, but we get Toyota spelled out here, and then a decent sized glove box, though it is quite full of stuff. You can see there is actually dual levels of storage in there. It isn't felt lined, but fairly large in and of itself. And then again, we already talked about the 3-level storage in the doors. Get a little more storage up here with our sunglass storage, and then all of our buttons and switches up here for the panoramic moonroof, sunroof in this. You can see we have a power retracting shade that does go back rather quickly and expose quite a bit of sunlight to us here. You can see that roof rack that really comes into handy with all the compromised storage space behind the 3rd row. And now that we've got the roof open, even though we have a mostly black interior, you can see it is not all dark and dreary in here. You can see I've got plenty of headroom sitting up here in the front seat. One thing to note on these back doors is they do not have the proximity sensor. They don't have the passive entry, so you are going to have to unlock the front doors or press the button on the key fob to get in the back doors. But when you do, there is a lot to like back here. We'll start on the doors, multi-tiered storage just like up front. We get the armrest up here just like up front. But we also get built-in sunshades, which is a very nice addition for a family vehicle. And you can see just how much of the windows they actually cover, which is way more than their 3-row minivan in their Sienna. But yeah, lots of coverage there, and then lots of storage in all 3 tiers, including a little carpeted section up here on top. Then coming to the seats, you can see we have captain's chairs back here in the back. We get that camo pattern, no TRD Pro branding on it, but the lower latch points are made very visible. If you want to see what it's like installing a child seat in this Sequoia, be sure and hit that subscribe button, because Tucker's car seat will be installed very shortly in that video. You can see we get B-pillar mounted handles to climb in back here, and then a very large floor mats, rubber mats that carry over the same designs with the rock earth design and the tire treads, which is very nice. You can see we have 2 cup holders here. We've got controls for our tri-zone climate, and then some poverty blanks here because we do not have the capstone trim or anything like that. You can see we do have some additional power down below, which is nice for rear seat passengers. So USB-A and USB-C, as well as a 3-prong household style outlet back there. We get air vents on the back of the center console and air vents in the ceiling, which is very nice. And again, something we really like, especially for rear facing car seats. So yeah, that is definitely something we like. You can see the center tunnel is quite raised. It's even higher back here between us in the second row. So just something to take into consideration, though these seats are very nice and comfortable. This is its most upright position, and you can see with the roller shade going back right here, I am a little compromised for headroom space, but these seats do recline, and now I'm very comfortable, so I've got no complaints there. But I'm sure the people in the third row might have a few complaints with me sitting like this. So we will go ahead and pop out and show you exactly how to get in that third row and just how much space is back there. So this is the handle I pulled to recline. It's also the handle you pull to tilt and tumble the seat up to get into the third row. Now, unfortunately, if you've got 2 child seats in place here in the second row, you are going to have to climb around that middle section to get into the back seat. So just something to take into your consideration when buying a vehicle if you have a lot of car seats. Now, I can power fold these seats down from right here. You can see I've got a button right on the front of the wheel well here that I can power fold these seats down. Interesting though, I found out just anecdotally that if the doors are closed, these buttons do not work. So I guess that's a good thing for rear seat passengers, because who knows what mischief would ensue from second row passengers knowing that button is right there. But over here on the passenger side, you can see we've got a cubby down here. We have a USB-C port down there. We have 2 cup holders up here, and then we have our power recline button right there. So you can recline the seats just a little bit. You can see just how differentiated they are between the upright of this side and the fully reclined of this side, but you are putting that headrest in the back window at that point. Again, the center seat belt does retract into the ceiling. You will have to connect it down here. Does not look like we've got lower latch points anywhere here in this third row. So to put a child seat in, you will be using the seatbelt method. But some amenities we also like back here. We have ceiling mounted air vents in the third row. We have sunshades that retract in the windows back here. And in the area that is not covered, it's permanently painted on to the windows, which is very nice. So again, full coverage, helping keep you cool back here, all of which is very nice. And then panning over to this side, you can see we are a little compromised on space, so we don't have that cubby here, but we still have cup holders, and our USB-C port has been moved back here. Another nice thing Toyota does is they put places throughout the vehicle to store seatbelts when they aren't in use, which made climbing back here much easier. I am going to go ahead and slide over behind Tucker and show you exactly what it's like for me at 5'10", sitting here in the back seat. Again, this seat is fully reclined, but like my head doesn't have a lot of places to go back here, which isn't the best, but then I can sit it upright This is its normal seating position, and now, yeah, my head is hitting the ceiling. I also have right here a lever to slide the seat forward and back. So just like I was able to slide it forward and back there, I can slide it forward and back from up here. So now if I recline it, nope, still no headroom, but it is nice to know that there are options back here in the back. I just don't know that adults will want to ride in this third row too much, especially if you're anywhere near my height at 5'10". You can also see my knees aren't exactly underneath my chin, but they aren't super comfortable either, just because of the raised floor back here and the lower seating position. Keep in mind, the battery for the hybrid system is underneath me. As promised, now that I'm not filming on my iPhone and I have the cameras all set up, here's what CarPlay looks like. It fills up the entire screen, and it is so nice to be able to quickly hit all my buttons. They are very large, very clear, and easy to get to. I really like that a lot. You can get to a lot of different functions through here. So all of that is very cool. And your music is displayed very large and in charge here on the screen as well. But we do have this button right here that does give us our Toyota shortcuts on the side again, so that you don't have to hit that Toyota button to get back to your Toyota menu. All of which is very nice, but I really like leaving it in the massive CarPlay screen because Toyota doesn't really give you a dedicated home screen either. Now, I did mention the towing mirrors. They are nice. I don't know why every time we get a Sequoia, especially this TRD Pro trim, we get the towing mirrors, because that one over there is sitting so far out, it is just a blind spot all unto itself, because an entire car could hide behind that one. Over here, though, it's a little bit different story. I do like how they are power adjustable, but the lower section is not. They are actually a physical adjustment, so I would have to get over there and actually move it around myself or have someone do it for me. Also worth noting, they do power extend with a button here over my left knee, but they only have two positions, out or in. We're also testing a Ram 2500 with tow mirrors that have a power lower section and allow you to adjust just how far out you have the mirrors. There's no like dedicated out and in. It's wherever you want in between. It's fully extended and fully retracted state. Just some thoughts on the towing mirrors here in this Sequoia TRD Pro. Now, before we set off, I do want to say thank you to RaceBox for supplying us with one of their GPS race timers. It's going to be used to 0 to 60 test this big beast, but you can also get one, do a lap timer if you frequent a track, and kind of keep track of just how your vehicle performs over time. This has an internal memory on it, built-in GPS, built-in battery, all kinds of good things. You can get one and save 15% off using our code down in the description below. But we'll go ahead and put this thing in drive and set off. Now, we do have multiple different drive modes. I'm going to go ahead and put it in sport so that we can test out just how quick this big beast is. Now, we're moving right now. The engine is actually off. So we're moving on electrons only right now. But I did mention how this hybrid system is really geared more for power than it is fuel efficiency. And we're about to witness that exactly. I've already mentioned just how not great the fuel efficiency has been for us in our testing. We're seeing just over 11 mpg after me sitting and idling. But I did hear that V6 just fire up from the exhaust back behind me. We are going to come to a complete stop right here. I am going to stand on the brake with my left foot, stand on the accelerator with my right foot. This thing is chomping at the bit to go. Ready, set, and off we go. My goodness, we got some wheel slippage, but 2.32 to 30 and 6.31 seconds to 60. That is saying something for just how big this vehicle is. I cannot make you realize there on camera just how big driving this thing feels. It feels like I am driving a tank around. It really is a massive vehicle in its overall size. That's not to say it drives big, but being in here, seeing all the vehicle around me, you know you are in a big vehicle, and that's why I'm so gracious for the 360 cameras. I am gracious for the big mirrors, though these are not the mirrors I would opt for if I were buying one for myself and living with it in my daily life, I would get their normal mirrors. Speaking of normal, I put us back in normal drive mode because as we turn on our drive mode back here, I really want to talk about how this has been living with. Because again, nothing has really changed since we tested that 2024 model last year in that Terra color. If you want to go see how that one performs off-road, you can go watch that video. But this one is more focused on how it performs on-road, because as I mentioned outside, my big revelation with this exact vehicle actually is just how good the suspension is at speed, whether on-road or off-road. This suspension really is geared more for speed. And I'm not quite sure when TRD Pro was less about rock crawling and slow technical stuff and more about just fast off-road ability, but that seems to be where Toyota is going. Again, the isodynamic seats that they put in the Toyota Tacoma really are best at speed. The suspension in this massive vehicle with not so great approach departure breakover angles is really great at speed. Both things were tested at Toyota's Headquarters Confidential event earlier this year out at Eagles Canyon Raceway. There is a high-speed off-road race course out there that they do actually have sanctioned off-road racing on, and the team out there at Eagles Canyon really do prefer this platform. I was surprised. I saw this exact one out there tearing it up on the off-road course, and I was impressed at what this big beast was capable of. Again, 6.31 seconds 0 to 60 is very impressive for a vehicle of this size. Pair it with a very good off-road suspension, really good off-road tires, a great transmission, and this is a very capable vehicle when you push it to its limits. And apparently the best way to do that is high speed off-road. But given the fact that it is good at high speed off-road things, that means it's also fairly comfortable on-road while also exuding that big, tough, macho off-road presence that everyone likes. So this really is the best of a lot of worlds in the big SUV market for 2025. It looks rough and tough, ready to go, ready to tackle anything. It is actually capable as long as you aren't trying to climb over obstacles and such. And then you've got plenty of room inside for multiple people and things, depending on how you pack your Sequoia. So this really is capable in a lot of different ways, and it is really kind of tailored to a specific buyer. If you are interested in more technical rock crawling, off-roading, things of that nature, maybe you go down a size to the 4Runner. But here on road in this one, oh look, we've got some deer. Nope. You made a bad choice. Don't you do it. Scare them off now. That's not to say that this thing is not capable off-road. It is just not tailored towards what I would do with it off-road, but very impressed with its prowess at speed. But even here on my twisty back road, I'm impressed with just how comfortable the ride is. It's kind of barge-like. I know that has a little bit of a negative connotation. It is floaty, but not offensively so. So yeah, you kind of float over imperfections and such, but you're not like getting seasick, like you're just wandering aimlessly out at sea. It's well composed, well mannered. I'll say it that way. And bumps in the road, imperfections don't upset it the way that you would think a big vehicle of this nature would be upset by imperfections in the road surface. And then again, that 10-speed automatic, I am very impressed with just how eager it is to shift and put you in the proper gear for whatever you're wanting it to do. I'm in normal mode right now, and like it is very quick to downshift and set me off. So between the sheer power of this turbo hybrid V6 under the hood, the 10-speed automatic is also very well suited for this vehicle. Now I can slap it over into sequential mode and do it myself if I wanted to, but I don't think I need to. The engineers did such a great job making sure it is ready to shift with whatever input I give it from the throttle and my right foot. This really is a good setup and good system. I can tell you every time this vehicle has come to our 13-degree incline driveway, I've known it's home. So it does make a fair bit of noise from that exhaust as well, letting everyone around you know, yes, I've got that iForce Max twin turbo hybrid V6 under the hood, and this thing really is quite capable. It sounds like a twin turbo V6. It's got a little bit of bass to it, but it does not replace a V8 sound, that is for sure. But I mean, it does sound big and macho, and again, the power numbers are absolutely there, and the 10-speed automatic absolutely helps back up the noise and the power numbers in this as well. All the way around, it is a very good powertrain that I have had no real complaints of, as long as I don't try and put it in 4 high or 4 low with this electronic transfer case. All right, now that we're getting to the end of the twisty bit, I'm going to do another couple of 0 to 60 runs, but probably more how you would do it at home in typical driving fashion. I'm just going to go from the brake pedal to the accelerator, no revving, no anything like that. We're just going to go from a complete stop to flooring it all with my right foot. So here we are, complete stop, ready, set, off we go. So there is a little bit of lag, but when you get going, this thing absolutely pulls. This is a strong powertrain, 6.73. This thing really is very strong. And yes, even with this twin turbo V6, I am letting the entire neighborhood know that I'm here. It is quite a raucous noise that this thing makes under hard acceleration, but we are going to do it one more time in a reverse direction, going back the way we came, because this way is going downhill slightly. So once more, full stop, ready, set, off. A little bit of lag, like laughably slow reaction time from me jamming the accelerator down to us actually setting off, but 6.76 again. So very repeatable numbers here, even in normal mode without brake torquing it. Sub 7-second acceleration is very good, and it feels strong. It does not let up. It doesn't run out of breath or anything under hard acceleration because it's turbocharged, because we have that hybrid system supplementing the power from the gas engine. It all works together very nicely. It is very well tuned together, though yes, it does take a little bit of time to realize exactly what I'm asking of it. Now, I will say this GPS-based timer doesn't know that I've put my foot down fully on the accelerator, so these numbers are a little skewed. We also do have a 1-foot rollout engaged on these 0 to 60 times, so just some things to keep in mind when looking at the numbers and the results of our acceleration testing. Otherwise, visibility in here is mostly good, though there is a pretty big blind spot with the pillar back there and with Tucker's child safety seat installed. But with these big mirrors, with the blind spot indicators on the mirrors, helping me know everything that's around me, I feel fairly confident piloting this thing around. I even have the lower portion of our trailer mirrors, so I've got good visibility around me in various different ways, even if I don't have an actual eye on what is ever out of that third window back there in the back. So my summary of who this is for: probably a lot of people here in East Texas. Our roads are built for big vehicles like this. Clearly, the hybrid powertrain is not all about saving the planet. It's about giving you lots of power. This has that off-road look that everybody is after right now, even if they aren't actually going off-road. And as long as you don't plan on taking this on any serious off-road trails, this is actually very capable off-road, though this would really be good in a desert situation off-road. Who would have thought the TRD Pro is a good desert runner? Definitely not me, but yeah, high-speed off-road is really where this is aimed more. If you've got a lot of slow technical stuff or narrow trails, maybe go with the smaller 4Runner. If you want to see more of our thoughts on this in daily life here in East Texas, absolutely hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell, because our next video, Holly will be behind the wheel, Tucker will be back in his child safety seat, I'll be riding a shotgun, and we will take this down the historic brick streets of downtown Tyler, Texas to see exactly how this off-road suspension handles old school pavement in those regards. You can also find us on all social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, on my favorite driving road in the back roads of East Texas, behind the wheel of the 2025 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. Until next time, gearheads. Bye. But here on road in this one, oh, look, we've got some deer. Nope, 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 nope. You made a bad choice. Don't you do it. Scare them off now. Yeah, I was out here this morning, no deer.